Greetings, traveler. You stand in the presence of the great and mighty Gonad the Barbarian, master of steel and fur loincloth. Alright, jokes aside. Today, I want to talk about barbarians, and you're probably thinking, why barbarians? Well, I think that they're pretty interesting. I know a little bit of the history, the real world history about them, but also I've been going through the Savage Worlds Fantasy Companion, and I think it's a great book. And one of the things that they have is cultural packages, which is based more around economy, ecology, and geography. So, for example, you have things like the Horse Lords. Those are your Huns and your Mongols, and they build empires, and they build them well. Some of the best world conquerors have been real world horse lords. Attila the Hun, you know, Genghis Khan, horse lords. What they do is they come in and they take over. And here's the thing: the horse culture evolved into your knights. Chivalry is where we get the term cavalier. So historically, a lot of your paladin types could be closely related to your Mongols and your Huns, just with a little bit more time and dedication to the thought. And really, that's what separates, what we would consider civilization from barbarians, is the fact that a civilization has more time to sort of cultivate its own belief, and a more universal belief rather than a sort of homogeneous tribal belief. That's really what it comes down to. So, historically, the term barbarian that we're used to comes from ancient Greece, and it effectively meant people who weren't Greek, people who don't understand our philosophy or our culture or our belief. They were, looking to take stuff because in the old days, that's what people did. They didn't have enough of their own stuff, so they took stuff from somewhere else. We look at the mountain folk. Skyrim is for the Nords. That whole, well, this is our mountain. This is our way of living. This is how we've always done things. And the Nords were looked at as barbarians by people of Cyrodiil or all over the place because they didn't have sort of that more, I guess you could say, or less integrated society. You look at the sea people, who are they? Well, I mean, they're pirates. Pirates developed their own culture, but pirates are considered uncivilized compared to, like, say, the British Navy or so on and so forth. So effectively, what we see historically is that a barbarian is pretty much just somebody from the lower class. And I hate to put it so bluntly, but if you don't have that sort of socially considered higher breeding, then you get looped into that whole, well, you're just a barbarian. But here's the thing: barbarian cultures were based around things like survival. They were based around having attributes like strength or good work ethic or being trustworthy and having honor. Some of them were more hedonistic or enjoyable. They like to laugh and joke. I mean, you could just as much see a barbarian character sitting at a bar, drinking, joking with friends, as much as you could see them sort of sitting across a table from nobility, staring at them, trying to look past the mask of civility. So, my idea that if you're going to like role play a barbarian character is to not go into just the stereotypes of being like some kind of savage lunatic who wants to bully people, because really I don't think barbarian characters are actually bullies. I think they just have a different way of looking at things, and in the mind of a barbarian, as how I see them, they look at pomp and circumstance as being silly. You don't need these frilly coats, and you don't need this sort of like hors d'oeuvres and stuff. You just need food and you need shelter, and it makes more sense, instead of wearing something that just cost a lot to make, to wear the furs of something that was dangerous that tried to kill you. That would be a sign of strength. Or looking at something like intricate jewelry, maybe the barbarian is interested more in the metalwork and how the pieces were put together rather than the actual jewel or the name of the maker. I find that barbarians, in my mind, how I see them, would look at a famous jeweler and say, I don't know who that is, but I do like their work. Because that's another thing. You notice barbarians carry things like axes, swords, and they have really good weapons because they use tools, but they don't use fancy, extravagant tools. What I'm getting at is that I don't feel like if you're playing a barbarian character, you're playing someone that's really flashy. Maybe in terms of movement to sort of demonstrate their warrior prowess, but as I've seen characters like, say, Conan the Barbarian, what they do is they develop this sort of like internal strength. And it's that internal strength that sort of guides them. That's their sense of truth. They have the ability to survive something. So I guess they're kind of the anti-bard. Anyway, that's just my character breakdown of it. If you're going to play a barbarian, that's your character. You can play them any way you want. I'm just throwing out options, things to think about. By the way, I'm Dustin. I'm with Star City Savages, and I write books and make games. If you like these videos and some of these advice that I give, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And check below in the description for the link to some of my work. I got a little hub. You can check out my other stuff there. We've got games on DriveThruRPG. Our flagship right now is The Drowned War, a flooded world post-apocalypse. And also, I write books. I've got 2 novels out in the Binary Abyss series set in the Drowned War setting. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and come back later. Bye.